The New South Wales Selective exam is one of the most competitive and prestigious exams in Australia. Success in this exam offers numerous benefits, such as enhanced academic environment, accelerated learning in certain subjects, and improved chances of obtaining a high ATAR in Year 12. We have discussed preparation strategies in previous videos. Today, we'll focus on post-exam actions. Immediately after the exam, what should we do? Let's dive in. If you're familiar with our channel, you likely encountered our most popular video, the CSS Framework, on how to maximize your chances of getting into a New South Wales selective school, which encourages consistency, smart decision making, and self-awareness. Post-exam feedback is crucial for addressing the latter two aspects of the framework, guiding us in making informed choices about schools and evaluating the student's performance as soon as possible. For example, if a student feels they perform poorly compared to their usual tutoring sessions, they might consider adjusting the school options to be more conservative. Alternatively, if they feel confident about their performance, they could aim for more ambitious school choices. This approach can be split and requires two key elements though. The first is honesty and self-awareness regarding past performance. Students must accurately assess their performance, and parents should consider the accuracy of past feedback from the students' exams and tutoring sessions. If students' perceptions of their performance in mock exams like pre-uni's ASAT exam, which is very popular for students, consistently differ from the actual results, this should be taken into account. Parents should be mindful of the potential pressure they may inadvertently place on their children when asking questions about the exam too, as this could lead to students providing misleading feedback to appease them. For instance, if I'm a parent and I ask a student, how did they find the exam? They may want to tell me the things I want to hear, such as, oh yes mum, I found it to be pretty good. I think I aced it. I saw the other kids, they seemed like they struggled. I'm very confident about that. But in actual fact, I may have found that the test was extremely challenging, but I don't want my parent to get me in trouble, so I'll just tell them what I want to hear. So parents have to consider that aspect, and obviously as a student, you really want to be honest with your feedback and self-aware with your past performance. Otherwise, this element will not really work. The second element that has to be taken into consideration is all about flexibility. In order to maximize the benefits of post-exam feedback and asking the student how they went, it requires flexibility in your school choices. If parents are very fixated on a specific school or school options, they may not be able to fully utilize the feedback to make a strategical decision. At our teaching organization, our Bings Academy, we prefer working with parents who demonstrate some flexibility or align with our expectations from the onset. Rigidity in school choices can lead to misaligned expectations and dissatisfaction. Comparing students' feedback to that of their peers can also be very valuable. This can be challenging for parents to do independently, which is why at Bings Academy, we make it a point to call every parent and student after the New South Wales Selective exam if they want my feedback and for me to ask them certain questions. This allows us to compare the performance of top students with that of average and weaker students, providing them a clearer picture of overall performance. However, this is not going to work, for instance, if a parent is only focused on getting into just one school. Let's say that we are teaching a student and the parent only wants them to get into James Roos. If I identify that they missed the ball in certain aspects and certain topics of the question, it is quite clear that maybe James Roos is not a shoo-in and we should maybe consider some other options. If the parent doesn't have that flexibility, then there's no point in asking these questions. You might as well just keep your choices, because no one can convince you if you're not open to changing your mind. And that's what I find a lot of parents are, is because sometimes they choose choices that they selfishly want when it may not make strategical sense. They may choose the school that's down the road, such as Girraween, even though their child may not be skilled enough to get into Girraween. So what's the point of putting that school down? So that's where there's a bit of a push and pull between parents and teachers. So you just have to think about what works best for you in your unique situation. While we don't divulge all the specific questions we ask students, we can share our general approach too. We begin by congratulating them on completing the exam and matching their energy levels. We always start on a positive note, regardless of how the student feels about the exam, to show our support. We then adjust our tone and language to match the student's mood, ensuring that our conversation is empathetic and respectful. Two great questions to ask is, how did you feel immediately after completing the exam? Were you relieved, confident, or anxious? How well do you think you managed your time during the exam? Did you run out of time, or did you have to guess certain questions? These two questions is a good starting point to allow you to have a better insight on how the student went and how you can adjust accordingly your choices. Although remember, the caveat here is that they have to follow the two above mentioned elements of them being truthful in terms of their response and parents being flexible with their school options. Otherwise, don't even bother asking questions. In conclusion, the results of the New South Wales Selective exam will typically take about 5 months to be released. Instead of worrying about the income, students should use this time to relax, reflect, and plan for the future. Whether that involves continued preparation for high school, or taking a break from tutoring, or just not doing anything at all and just playing games. Interestingly, we've observed that students who worked hard and invested effort into this exam for the long period and are very consistent in their efforts are often more disappointed with their results, while those who do not put much effort in tend to have lower expectations and they're not very disappointed at all because their result will be expected. In saying that though, you never really know what will actually be the outcome. Your result will come in a couple months, so there's really no point in crying right now if you don't feel like you made it in. You never know. It's all about how you perform compared to everyone else. And given the exam's 27.5% acceptance rate, it is indeed challenging to secure a place in these selective schools. Take the time, relax, and let me know if you have any questions or how you even found the exam. I'll be continuing to share some feedback and some tips, but if you found certain questions or topics hard, put it down in the comments below. I'm sure the other parents and students will really appreciate that. Okay, thanks guys. Have a good one. Bye.